Доброго. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this conference. Today, Tuesday, the 13th of November, the United Arab Emirates celebrates Martyrs' Days every year. Nancy commemoration of heroic epics written by the people of the Emirates in the arenas of glory and honor. May God have mercy on our now martyrs. As you know, this conference is dedicated to the topics of women's empowerment and gender equality, and I'm sure that you will go into detail to discuss these topics. As for my talk, it will be about the bilateral relations between the United Arab Emirates and Ukraine. Diplomatic relations between the two countries were established in 1992, and since then they have witnessed great development in all fields. Undoubtedly, the agreement to cancel the visa regime between the two countries, which was signed in the United Arab Emirates at the end of December 2017, has contributed to the development of relations and the increase in the volume of trade exchange, which reached $1 billion, as well as to the increase in the number of visitors, as more than 200,000 visitors go to the United Arab Emirates annually, and more than 5,000 Emirates visit Ukraine annually. It is also worth noting that in the Emirates, approximately 15,000 Ukrainians live permanently and enjoy full rights and privileges. This led to an increase in air traffic of more than 40 flights per week between 6 different companies. The embassy seeks to increase the number of flights between United Arab Emirates and Ukraine. I would also like to refer to the successful visit of His Excellency to the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky last February to the United Arab Emirates, which resulted in the signing of many official agreements and many memoranda of understanding between Emirati companies and the Ukrainian companies. And a high committee was formed between the United Arab Emirates and Ukraine and is chaired by Her Excellency Maryam El Mahari, Minister of Climate Change and Environment from the United Arab Emirates side, and from the Ukrainian side, His Excellency Andrei Yermak, Director of the Ukrainian President's Office. Her Excellency, the Minister, visited Ukraine 3 times during this year, and there are several positive results that will be tangible in the near future, and there are many delegations and official and commercial visits between the two countries. I would also like to note that the active participation of Ukraine in expo2020, where the Ukrainian pavilion was inaugurated on the 4th of October. Ukraine's participation in this exhibition, whose number of visitors during 60 days has reached more than 5 million, will have a positive impact on Ukraine's relations with all countries of the world. In conclusion, I reiterate my thanks to all the participants and organizers of this forum, and hoping for more such events, as they have a good impact on developing the relations between the two countries. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I'd like to invite the honorary guest, the first Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Ministry of Economy of Ukraine, Her Excellency Ms. Yulia Sviridenko. On behalf of the government of Ukraine, let me welcome the holding of this forum, which is taking place on the eve of the 50th anniversary of the United Arab Emirates. We consider the United Arab Emirates as a priority partner of Ukraine and a country that is developing rapidly and has a huge potential for further development. Priority areas of the public policy are development of not only of the fields of economy and technology, but also in the social sphere, primarily in the field of gender policy. By ratifying the Ukraine has taken the commitment to take into account the gender equality issues by developing and improving the laws, administrative provisions, and policies. Last year, our country has received the official status of the Biarritz partnership that was initiated by G7 leaders. One of the main areas of this cooperation is decrease the salary gap of women. Let me allow to the floor the wife of plenipotentiary extraordinary ambassador Mrs. Sheikha Salem.
And good afternoon to our honorable ladies online from the United Arab Emirates. I'm starting my speech by simply saying we are all born of a woman. I would like to relate the meaning of this phrase to our conference topic and to one of my favorite motivator and wise saying, our UAE's founding, our father, Sheikh Zayed, God rest his soul in peace. I encourage women to work in positions that maintain respect and dignity as mothers and makers of generations. The woman is half of the society, and any country which pursues development should not leave her in poverty or literacy. I'm on the woman side. Today, the Emirati women rank high among the most empowered women in the world, and this is because of the attention received, the support received, the respect and the confidence in their capacities, capabilities, and ambitions. Maybe many of you are wondering who encouraged them. Well, the pillars whose consolidating our Emirati women are the respectful rulers, our beloved leaders. Their efforts and constant ensures the inclusion of women in all fields at all levels. A 2007 report from the United Nations Development Programme on the progress of Millennium Development Goals in the UAE states that the promotion of women in higher education has risen remarkably at a rate that has not been achieved in any other country in the world. During the years 1990 to 2004, the number of female universities grew to double that of male students. This is the result of the promotion and encouragement of women's education by state and families, through collaboration to successfully promote gender equality, women empowerment, and tolerance. Tolerance, it's a noble goal, and yes, it is in our culture. The UAE was built on foundational values of tolerance, peace, and stability, friendship towards all culture and peoples, and this is reflected in a succeeding and tolerant nation that hosts more than 200 nationalities, has a 95.8% literacy rate, welcomes over 15 million tourists annually, and is proud of the fact that almost 80% of all its university graduates are women. And the only one way to achieve this is by working hard, dream big, and succeed. It's guaranteed. Thank you.
Дякую, пані Алькабі. А тепер запрошую.
Salkabi and what? The Deputy Ministry of Home Affairs of Ukraine, Mrs. Alkapan. Дякую.
كثير سيدة الشيخة، أنا مبسوطة اليوم وأشكركم على استقبالي. أنا مبسوطة بتعاوني بين بلدين، بين أوكرانيا والإمارات. And I will turn to English, just not
Я
headphones. First of all, I would like to thank you for this great opportunity to have this speech and to have this conversation today. I would like to congratulate Emirates on behalf of opening the worldwide powerful exhibition expo2020 this year, and it shows that we are developing, we are going further, we are demonstrating new technologies, we have the platform for dialogue on different topics, and I'm really grateful and thankful to you that we raise such an important topic today as gender equality and the role of women in today's world. I would say that understanding today's challenges and the situation with the newest threats in the world, we started think about this a few years ago in our country, in our government, in our parliament, and last few years we implementing a lot of different documents and new kind of reforms, which firstly goes to the mindset of society. And today we have a huge impact and huge progress of the role of women in our government, in our parliament, in our society. Our ministry is an active player in implementation of gender equality and supports all practical and policies that bring us closer to high-level standards. We are improving regulations and conducting information activities to raise awareness among law enforcement officials about gender equality issues and gender discrimination. The main indicators of the formation and implementation of gender policy in the authorities in our ministry are full and active implementation United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, Women, Peace, Security, development of MIA's institutional action plans in order to involve all units and all agencies in the implementation of gender policy, building institutional capacity and mechanism of implementing gender equality, introduction statistics. It's very important. I will go in more detail with the figures later. Introduction of indicators of women's career growth, especially in our ministry. Integration of gender dimensions in the educational process. Improvement the regulatory framework for preventing and combating sexual harassment in the workplace, increasing the participation of women in peacekeeping and security operation. So talking about all these priorities, I would say that some effective steps we already have done, and during this year, we conduct a gender audit in the state emergency service and national police, and we have great results. What is gender audit? So this is about the regulation, about the possibilities, and about the conditions in which women is serving and working. For example, working organization, workspace, leadership development, corporate culture, qualification, even financial support, which was above mentioned today, that is very important condition. As well reward, as well additional family-oriented services. So the gender audit tool helps us to identify existing mechanism and understand what needs to change, what needs to be changed. All results and indicators were formed into one big action plan, which becomes a roadmap for our ministry, and especially taking into account that we have several agencies under our coordination, which is more focusing on security and law enforcement. In addition, we are actively implementing gender-based budgeting, and this is a quite new condition, a quite new tool for us, but we start work on that. We conducted a gender analysis of 60 passports of budget programs in our ministry. The results of the gender analysis shows that the gender gaps in the representation of women and men affect not only the quality of service delivery, but also effectiveness of the use funds depending on gender aspects. So I would like to know that after the having reforms during last few years, in our ministry, we were opening more than 400 positions that were banned for women in the security and defense sector until 2017. Our agency has undergone significant change, including the presence of women in law enforcement on each levels. So I want to highlight some figures. Over the last 5 years, the total percentage of women, including civil positions, working in authorities of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So, for example, in State Emergency Service and at the National Police is 27% in each of these bodies are women. In National Guard of Ukraine, which is law enforcement with the military functions agency, is 12% of women. So, one more figure. In State Border Guard Service, the percentage of women officers is 19%. So you can see that the progress is huge, and the result of these changes are significant. And we can prove that in the mindset of our officers, in the psychological behavior of our services and officers, in the at the conditions and the mental health in our structure. And it proves with the presence of the women on each and all levels. And we are going to continue this policy. And we are really appreciate all the supports of our partners here, all international organizations and governments who support us, exchanging experience, providing funds, and making this idea implementing and in real life. And we are, as Ukraine and law enforcement ministry, are ready to exchange our experience here. We are ready to provide in more details the steps how we achieve these results and what is our next goals and plans. And once again, I want to raise our appreciation, and I want to say my warm regards and words to you, to your embassy and to your government, that you are interested in this, that you highlight this important topic today. And I believe that all participants in this big room and all of them who is online with us will have a chance to give us their own vision and their own understanding on this issue. Thank you so much again for invitation, and good luck to all of us today. Thank you.
Дуже дякую. До слова запрошується
Thank you. I'd like to give floor to Deputy Minister for Digital Transformation, Mrs. Valerie Ioannan. Доброго дня, вдячно за можливість поговорити з вами сьогодні. Ми будуємо цифрову державу гуманну та орієнтовану на людей. Цифрові технології мають розширювати можливості жінок, створювати та злучати їх до роботи, яка раніше була менш доступною або не затребуваною через соціокультурні особливості. І в Міністерстві цифрової трансформації ми підтримуємо створення нових поколінь підприємців. А жіноче підприємництво – це потенціал, який потрібно інтенсивніше розвивати. І згідно з дослідженням портрету української жінки-підприємця, проведеному в рамках ініціативи Women Biz Days, пандемія негативно вплинула на 92% жінок-підприємців. 40 з них були змушені припинити підприємницьку діяльність, 20 відзначили зниження товарообороту, обігу та послуг, а 13 вважають, що знизилася платоспроможність.
The positive changes in today's women businesses, which admitted 47%, 18% of women mentioned that their business scaled, and 8% felt more opportunities for women's business. In the same time, among the negative changes in today's women businesses, 7% felt the negative impact of lockdown, and 4% felt the deterioration of business conditions. It is important that the Ministry of Digital Transformation that the number of women entrepreneurs grow, and so that the women's career path does not stop due to glass ceiling, and the growth from the position of a junior specialist to a manager position was absolutely real and predictable. So that is exactly why we, as the Ministry of Digital Transformation, are implementing several projects, the results of which will directly or indirectly reduce the negative impact of women entrepreneurship. This is in particular is Dia Business project. Dia Business has two components, an online portal and a network of business support centers. When we're speaking about Dia Business portal, it is a one-stop shop for future and existing entrepreneurs, which contains all the relevant information which is needed to start and develop a business. On the online platform of Dia Business are available more than 30 different products and services for those who want to start and grow their business, starting from 65 different free consultations on such topics as how to start a business, what is the financial plan and how to create it, or how to create a marketing strategy, how to internationalize my business, what do I have to know about export, and ending up with 100 business ideas, lots of self-assessments, tests, help desks, and catalog of services which are really important in the very beginning of the starting of the business, and are also very important in the period when an entrepreneur wants to grow their business. On the portal, there are also some new modules. For example, there is marketplace of financial products. So now it is possible, with the help of smart filters, to choose the necessary financial product and to use it to scale your business. There is also impact investment platform where entrepreneurs can get investment for the development and growth of their business, for example, and investors from the other side could find the necessary business where they would like to invest their resource. There are also lots of other very important sections, like, for example, analytics of Ukrainian entrepreneurship, and cases, news, lots of case studies. The second part of this project is the network of centers of support for businesses, which are opening in every center, in every city of Ukraine. And we are having already 11 centers which operate in Ukraine in different cities. It's Kharkiv, Odessa, Mykolaiv, Poltava, Kremenchuk, Bucha, Uzhhorod, Kryvyi Rih, Ternopil, and others. So these are particular places where a person, a future entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur can come and get free consultation, also can visit for free any educational event or even have the full educational training for free. Also, there is a special zone which we call pop-up location, where an entrepreneur can test their product before launching it into retail. So works in the way that if there is, for example, a micro business, a small business, which is manufacturing, let's say, honey, and wants to scale the sales, but still have some concerns regarding the product, the entrepreneur can come and put the product on the pop-up location, share the list of the questions that he or she has, and then during a month, the team of the center is gathering answers and feedback on the product with the help of digital technologies, actually with the iPad and a special program. So every guest of the center can answer the question, and an entrepreneur in a real-time format can see the feedback on how the audience reacts to the product and what things could be improved before starting to sell this product in retail. Also, it is very important to mention that we are implementing a project which is aimed to develop digital literacy skills in Ukraine. This project is called DIA Digital Education, and it also has two components, online and offline. And if we're speaking about an online component, it's a national educational online platform with more than 70 series which were done in edutainment format, in format of micro-learning sub-lessons. So when you see the episode, then you have to pass a small test to see the next episode. If you are failing the test, you cannot go further. There are lots of different tests on digital literacy, which we call digigrams. There are lots of different series for different segments of target audience, starting from the people of elegant age and ending up with scholars, young professionals, and some special professions like teachers, healthcare workers, public servants, entrepreneurs. And we have a special category also for women entrepreneurs on the platform, and we have some special series like
Пані та панове, ми подякуємо пані Іонан за її промову.
And the second part of this project is the network of hubs, of actually 6,100 hubs with an access to the internet and to the gadgets. So now every Ukrainian who wants to learn digital literacy, but unfortunately does not have this opportunity to learn digital literacy at home due to the lack of the internet or the gadget.
Так, пані та панове, подякуємо пані Іонан за її промову. Зараз я...
Let's thank Mr. Inan for her speech. Let's invite Miss Aletaiba.
With you in this conference and allow me to talk about gender equality and women's empowerment in the United Arab Emirates. The wise leadership of the United Arab Emirates since its inception by Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, may God rest his soul in peace, believed in the role of women, and along with His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and his brothers, the rulers of the Emirates, who followed the same approach. Furthermore, Her Highness Sheikh Fatima bint Mubarak, Mother of the Nation, Chairman of the General Women's Union, President of the Supreme Council for Motherhood and Childhood, and Supreme Chairman of the Family Development Foundation, has supported women through institutions, as she represents an ideal to emulate to every Emirati woman. Gender equality is of the paramount importance in the United Arab Emirates. In fact, Emirati is ranked as leading country in gender equality in the region, according to the World Economic Forum's 2018 Global Gender Gap Report. In May 2015, the government adopted a decision to establish UAE Gender Balance Council to ensure that Emirati women continue to play a leading role in the development of the United Arab Emirates. The Council carries out several functions, including reviewing legislation, policies, and programs to achieve gender balance in the workplace. I will go over a few areas where Emirati women have acquired their equal rights. In housing, in this area, Sheikh Zayed Housing Program provides housing for single Emirati women. Women's Health, the national strategy for empowerment of Emirati women, aimed at providing healthcare services to women in order to enhance their bodily and psychological health. Part of their goals to pay more attention to healthcare needs of women in remote areas and enhance health awareness program for women in different ages and over the United Arab Emirates. In education by Emiratis is free in public schools, colleges, and universities. The UAE government focuses on elimination of gender disparities in the education and ensure equal access to all levels of education and vocational training for vulnerable, including women and persons with disabilities. As for women's empowerment in the United Arab Emirates, they are empowered through services and facilities in various areas such as socio-economic empowerment. Empowerment of women in the United Arab Emirates has started in 1973 when the first women's meeting in the UAE, the Renaissance of Abu Dhabi Women Association, was held, after which other similar associations followed in other emirates. Women's rights in the UAE. Women in the UAE have equal rights to economic resources as well as access to ownership and control over land and other forms of property, financial services, and natural resources in accordance with national law. Women in the workforce. As of 2015, women occupy 66% of public sector jobs, which is one of the highest properties worldwide. 30% occupy senior leadership positions associated with decision-making roles. As far as the private sector is concerned, women in the UAE participate actively in various roles, including that of entrepreneurs and managers. Moreover, women business owners account for 10% of the total private sector in the United Arab Emirates. Women in politics. The new federal government witnessed the largest structural change in its history. New portfolios were added and new ministers were appointed. Among the 32 ministers of the new government, 9 are women. The participation of women in the United Arab Emirates cabinet is among the highest in the world, reflecting the strong position reached by the Emirati women. In that way, the UAE empowers and promotes the political inclusion of both genders. Women in the diplomatic corps. Women make up 30% of the diplomatic corps, where they occupy 234 positions, 42 of which are working in missions abroad and 7 being ambassadors. The UAE has started appointing women as ambassadors since 2008. I am honored to be chosen in November 2008 as the first lady ambassador for my country to the Kingdom of Spain. As can be seen, the UAE takes gender equality and women's empowerment very seriously and tries to implement it by way of legislation in all areas, either in the field of business and education or simply women's equal rights in assistance, housing and healthcare. Thank you.
Пані та панове, подякуємо за цю промову.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this speech. Now I'd like to invite Deputy Head of the President of Ukraine, Ms. Julia Sokolovska.
Dear ladies and Your Excellencies. It's an honor for me to be here and to participate in this event. And it is really important for me to speak about women's empowerment and gender equality, as I'm the only one woman out of 10 deputies of head of the office of the president. But in our government and in our parliament, situation is quite different. The most of deputies of prime minister, luckily, are women. So personally, I'm responsible for healthcare sector and social policy. My job is to provide expertise and advice to the president of Ukraine on those issues. It won't be a surprise for everyone that during this 1.5 year, the issues related with COVID-19 and social exclusion became the top priority, not only in Ukraine, but all over the world. But very often, these kind of humanitarian sectors are treated as women's one, but the challenges we face in those sectors are huge and overwhelming. Prolonged quarantine, lockdown, economic problem, job loss, reduced social activity, lack of communication negatively affected the emotional stand of citizens. The coronavirus pandemic has affected the mental health of people around the world by causing fear and anxiety. The crisis caused by COVID has also revealed a significant gap between available social services in the communities and the need of citizens, especially people with disabilities. In addition, quarantine has aggregated the isolation of vulnerable population. According to the World Economic Forum, women have also suffered the most from COVID-19 crisis. Many women lost their jobs. After all, closures and reductions have mostly affected the service sector and small businesses. During quarantine, the women were responsible for the support, care of the family, the education of children, and so on. So I'm really grateful to everyone who is involved in solving the global problems in those sectors. Exchange experience, development of joint decisions are the main pillars of successful policies. Global dialogue, exchange of experience encourages diversity, helps to strike better decisions and fairer world for everyone. The role of such meetings is significant in implementing new values and standards at all levels. That is why it's important to come together for change. Much has been done, but this is just a beginning. I am convinced that the speed of the transformation towards the achievement of these goals can be accelerated by joint efforts and can make them more equitable and inclusive. So thank you once again for your involvement, and thank you for today's event.
Пані та панове, подякуємо за цю промову.
Thank for this speech. I would like to our next guest, who's trying to get online with us. Meanwhile, I would like to remind you that this event is taking place before the 15th anniversary of National Day of United Arab Emirates in Ukraine. Today we often use the word tolerance, and I believe that we all can express our veneration with the leaders of the United Arab Emirates that implement this word on a daily basis by ruling the country. Tolerance is a very important notion for all of us, for every country, to make sure that we have proper order in the world. And the reason that we raising this very important issue cannot help have an impact on the future generations. It's going to be a future generation that will implement the principles of tolerance and equality in future generations and transfer this wisdom to their successors. I would like to congratulate United Arab Emirates with your applause, congratulate them on the National Day that will be celebrated on the 2nd of December. Once again, I want to note, so before we celebrate it, the country has selected an important topic that we take part in, and namely gender equality and empowerment of women. Today, the majority of our conference are women, and it's great. All of them have something to say about this important topic. Milor, the next guest is ready to join our discussion. Well, in the meanwhile, I suggest everyone to have some coffee and watch video.
خمسين 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 خمسين. أنا ما علي
نحن لا نعيش بدون روح. الإنسان بلا روح هو إنسان لا يتحرك، لا قيمة له. كذلك المكان وكذلك الأوطان لا قيمة لها بدون الروح.
In the most extreme environment on Earth, here we survived, travelled and traded, collaborated and fought, independent, smart and resourceful. Nothing changes, that is written. That spirit, that disdain of borders of the mind, that quest for new horizons lives on. We might still be proud, but we are no longer in isolation. We might still rove the land and sea, but now the skies, the world, and the universe itself. If independence is competence, knowledge, skill, leadership, and strength, then this too we have been granted, praise God. And with it, we have built a new and complicated world. But amid this noisy human endeavour, this chapter of our story, we still go placidly. We remember the peace that is in silence. We are humble before God and directed by Him, like those before us. This cosmopolitan crossroads we call home has been a meeting point for thousands of years. At half a century, the United Arab Emirates is the amalgamation of this history. The tent we have pitched is shiny and new. We are indeed fast-tracking to modernity. But it is not instant cities and luxury lifestyles we seek. It is the frontiers of knowledge. That is the real quest. There was no lack of civilization in our history. There is no clash of civilization today. No battle between tradition, identity, and hyperchange.
الشيخ زايد الله يرحمه هو اللي أسس كل الحاجات هاي وجمعنا، كنا متفرقين وجمعنا في بلد واحدة يعني.
The rock that anchors us and the hands that steer us have unified us. They have protected and enabled us with the abilities and resources to navigate the course we seek. That is the real spirit behind progress. We have lived and died in this inhospitable land, in the melting pot that is Arabia. Are we suddenly less tolerant of others because we are a nation? As a Muslim society, as Arabs, as men and women, we continue to embrace diversity. We live and learn from each other, each to his own path.
يكفي أن الشباب العربي أصبح يحب أن يأتي إلى الإمارات لكي يعمل ولكي ينجز، لأنه يشعر بأن هذه الدولة هي دولة الجميع، هي دولة المواطن ودولة العربي ودولة كل إنسان يبحث عن حلم.
But as much as we embrace this world, we cherish and protect our own culture and heritage.
خصائص الإماراتيين هو المحافظة على إرث أجدادنا والعادات والتقاليد رغم التطورات التي طرأت على دولة الإمارات.
طبعاً قبل الاتحاد كانت حياة معاناة للشعب.
We have known hardship. We are Bedouin. Today, our vistas are wide and blessed with resources we still give.
المساعدة عبارة عن روح للوصول إلى البشر المحتاجين، إسعاد البشر، إسعاد المجتمع.
We empathize because poverty is in our veins. We do good and do it well, as we were taught.
من الخطط اللي عندي ل 2023 ناوية أتسلق جبل إيفرست اللي هو أعلى جبل في العالم تحت حملة تسلق من أجل التصلب المتعدد.
أنا أفتخر كوني كنت أحد عناصر فريق الدفاع الأول بما يسمى فخر الوطن للتعامل مع جائحة كورونا ولوصول دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة إلى مرحلة التعافي.
We learn, we listen, we speak. Today, we are a global presence for stability, change, and resolution, respected by nations and allied for good in the Arab world, the Islamic community and beyond. It requires strong leaders, strong opinions, at the right place and time. God is one, and the reality which He created must have unity and integrity. That is what we believe, simple and timeless. Our individual identity is our national identity. Its social and moral values are bound to the lifestyle of our ancestors, neither backward-looking nor immutable. Since 1971, the fundamental concepts of nationhood are still driven by this distillation of knowledge and character. Our real and everlasting wealth is our people.
أنا يوم بكبر بكون بطل في الشطرنج ونفس الوقت بكون مهندس.
الخصائص الإماراتية أن نحن تعلمنا برا البلاد وسافرنا وأخذنا في تخصصات نادرة ورجعنا الإمارات وعلمنا وأهلنا كوادر.
We are rich in intellect, in entrepreneurship, in imagination.
كان قبل لنشات خشب، الحين غيرناها لفيبر جلاس وبدينا نطور في العمل، يعني لحد الآن الصناعة كل ما ياها تتجدد.
The resources under our sand and sea are also gifts from God.
الحمد لله ظهور النفط هذه غيرت المجرى الحقيقي لدولة الإمارات.
Nuclear energy helps power the machine.
بالرغم من التطور التكنولوجي والذكاء الاصطناعي وصلنا إلى مراحل متقدمة جدا يعني، إلا أن الأرض هي الأساس والزراعة هي الأساس، هي معيشة ومصدر رزق الإنسان يعني.
People are the key, diversity the watchword for a sustainable future for us, our planet and beyond. We are nomads before time. Home is where the heart is.
البيت تعني لي الأهل.
أصبحنا بيت واحد وأصبحنا وطن واحد، فبالتالي أصبحنا أسرة واحدة. هناك أسرة تشكلت مع قيام الاتحاد. هذه الأسرة هي عائلة دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة.
For generations, we have practiced a legendary hospitality.
الكرم يجب على كل إنسان. الكرم هو أساس الحياة. الكرم هو التعاون بين البشرية.
Our home is a hub for travel, rest and exploration. Secure, warm, welcoming.
الأرض تعني لي الانتماء.
Land has tested and forged us. It has sustained and protected us. It is the stage where we continue to act out this long, long story. At heart, the we of this story remain proud Bedouin, still roaming the desert full of opportunities as of old, still living in tents as men must do. We eat, we drink, raise families, do deeds and die. And all this is neither the beginning nor the end of the story.
الأرض هي دمنا، الأرض هي فؤادنا، الأرض هي عقلنا، الأرض هي شرايين الحياة لنا.
يوم أفكر بكلمة الوطن أفكر بشيخ زايد.
Those who dream by night wake in the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day act on their dreams with open eyes to make them possible.
50 50 50 انا ما علي
نحن لا نعيش بدون روح. الإنسان بلا روح هو إنسان لا يتحرك، لا قيمة له. كذلك المكان وكذلك الأوطان لا قيمة لها بدون الروح.
In the most extreme environment on Earth, here we survived, travelled and traded, collaborated and fought. Independent, smart and resourceful, nothing changes that is written. That spirit, that disdain of borders of the mind, that quest for new horizons lives on. We might still be proud, but we are no longer in isolation. We might still rove the land and sea, but now the skies, the world and the universe itself.
The topics planned to be discussed are extremely relevant, not only for Ukraine, but also for the whole world. Indeed, it is particularly important to show solidarity and mutual support for the empowerment of women, the promotion of tolerance and gender equality. I'm confident that the forum, which will be initiated by the United Arab Emirates Embassy in Ukraine, will make an effective contribution to achieving these important goals. I am convinced that such ambitious tasks can be realized only with close cooperation between the countries. Unfortunately, due to prior arrangements, I will not be able to personally attend this event. At the same time, I wish you a successful event and look forward to further fruitful cooperation. Please accept, Your Excellency, the assurance of my highest consideration. Olena Zelenska. Now, I'd like to give the floor to Ms. Rasha Deri, the Executive Director of Aduri Health Center.
Hello? Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Rasha Al-Duri, the founder and CEO of Duri Clinic Medical Center in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. First of all, I would like to thank the UAE Embassy in Kiev for hosting me amongst these esteemed speakers. It is really an honor, and I'll try my best to summarize my life experience in the UAE in 5 minutes. I come originally from Iraq, and my family decided to move to the UAE after the last Iraq war to provide a safe environment for their kids, and from there our story began. This great country provided my whole family an equal opportunity to grow based on our qualifications. So from a family with limited resources after the war, my parents started teaching in Abu Dhabi University. And then, gradually, they started their private business. Me and my brothers completed our studies in the UAE. I graduated as a dentist, and my brothers graduated as medical doctors. Our story is similar to the stories of many of our family and friends residing here in the United Arab Emirates. And this demonstrates the tolerance and the equal opportunities that the UAE grants its residents, and most importantly is the feeling of safety and security as that we feel as UAE residents. Now I come to my personal story and experience as a woman residing in this exceptional country. After graduating, I worked as a dentist in a nice clinic here in Abu Dhabi, but my dream was much bigger. My dream was that I wanted to start my own clinic, my own specialized practice, and the UAE supported my dream and nurtured it. I got all the support I needed from the government entities and from the Department of Health. And I realized how this country empowers women and present them with equal opportunities regardless of their nationality, and this is tolerance in its purest forms. On top of that, there is a special respect, cultural respect, and delicate way of dealing with women here in the United Arab Emirates. During my journey of starting up my business, I dealt with many Emirati women who are employees in the government entities and in the Department of Health, and I was amazed by their level of professionalism in completing our applications for my startup business. The UAE empowerment and equality for all the women residing here in the UAE, regardless of their origin or nationality, is something I take pride of as an Arab woman. I also witnessed how the UAE supported Emirati women education starting from nursery and helped them to reach to work in the Mars mission team. All of that while giving women also the support by law to have the time to take care of their families and nurture their kids. I consider myself as a citizen of this beautiful country, and I'm forever grateful for the amazing UAE. And I'm proud of the United Arab Emirates' unique achievements in the last 50 years, and I'm really looking forward to witness the UAE growth in the next 50 years. And happy 50th National Day, UAE.
Thank you, thank you. And I'd like to invite the wife of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, the founder founder of the City Garden organization, and Miss Eugenia Kuleba. Let's congratulate her with applause. Жінка завжди повинна доводити собі суспільству, що вона здатна розбити скляну стелю і, і стати справжнім лідером. Я гадаю, що я завжди була феміністкою, і не лише на словах, але й на ділі. Я намагалася транслювати, що жіноче лідерство є ефективним і має багато позитивних наслідків для суспільства. Як тільки я стала депутатом Київської міської ради у 2020 році, однією з моїх перших ініціатив було створення міжфракційного об'єднання «Київ за рівні можливості», до якого зараз ходять 27 чоловіків і 30 жінок з усіх фракцій ради. Я відразу почала активно впроваджувати політику гендерної рівності на рівні громади. І можу з певністю сказати, що стала її адвокатом в Києві. Влітку я очолив рух «За жінки у Києві». Я підписала маніфест поваги до прав людини та жінності. Зустрілася з активними жінками міста, які готові об'єднатися та працювати для досягнення рівних прав і можливостей. І наразі я працюю в рамках партнерства «Біарриц», яка має на меті, серед іншого, посилювати лідерство жінок. 2021 рік – це стартовий рік, з якого можна говорити про активну інтеграцію гендерної політики в діяльність міської ради нашої столиці. Система місцевого самоврядування – це дуже вперта річ. На ключових керівних посадах мало жінок, втім, багато з них займають посади заступників. Але посади, на яких приймаються ключові рішення, все ж таки переважно обіймають чоловіки. І лише 39 депутатів із 120 є жінки. А відсоток чоловіків і жінок
That's why we need to inspire our colleagues by our own example. I'm very grateful for this event because we have to talk about the role of women in the society, about women leadership, and to inspire those women who are not ready or afraid to take this responsibility and play a very important role, not only on the local level, but on the state level. So thank you very much for this event. I'm very happy to see all those inspiring people, and thank you for talking about the role of women in our societies. Thank you very much.
Дякую, що були з нами.
Thank you for being with us. I'd like to invite the Prime Minister of Ukraine in 2005, 9, and 10, the leader of the Batkivshchina political party, Mrs. Julia Tymoshenko. Thank you for your opportunity. First of all, I would like to congratulate Mr. Ambassador, Mrs. Sheikhan, all participants of the conference, and dear organizers. Thank you for invitation and the opportunity to have a discussion today in a professional circle of like-minded people. I am very happy to see women and men consolidate their efforts, create platforms for exchanging views, consortia help each other, and provide a reliable and often much needed leverage. Ukraine has made progress on gender equality. Most Ukrainians consider equal rights and opportunities for women and men the most successful reform and transformation since gaining our independence. These results are visible and tangible. According to a poll conducted by our partners at the National Democratic Institute, about 70% of respondents believe that equal rights and opportunities for men and women are a necessity today. And this remarkable social consciousness of Ukrainian society testifies of progressive empathy and desire for justice and parity. This is fantastic. It inspires. It makes me believe in Ukrainians even more. And of course, we all still have something to work on, especially since recently there is another aspect that is decelerating this progress globally and causing new challenges. This is the COVID-19 pandemic. It was the women who took the brunt of the pandemic. After all, Ukrainian women work in the most vulnerable sectors of the economy that have suffered most from the COVID pandemic, including over 82% of women work in medicine sector. More than 80% of education, culture, creative industry, social specialists are women. Moreover, during the quarantine, the burden on women increased significantly due to housekeeping, increasing housework, helping children with some schooling, and much more. And only children had to study in online mode, so everything was have to be taken care of by women. And also today, many women entrepreneurs, especially those who run their own businesses, work at small and medium-sized enterprises, have found themselves in a very difficult situation due to the COVID pandemic. We have an urgent need to help these women find the strength, and the government should find finance and everything possible to make sure that their entrepreneurship will not be lost. So we'll have to give new impetus to their work. However, even in spite of the new post-COVID reality, it should be recognized that qualitative and quantitative changes in the equal rights and opportunities of women and men already exist. And I'm convinced that there is more female leadership and women in our politics. From a historical point of view, Ukrainian society has made significant progress in a relatively short period of time. I can give you some figures about the female representation in parliament, in particular with regard to gender equality in the parliament. In the 9th convocation of the Ukrainian parliament, 20% of MPs are women, while in the first convocation of the parliament there were only 11 women, 2.3%. So the average percentage of female parliamentarians in Europe countries is 25%. Therefore, I am convinced that Ukraine is on the right path. However, it should be understood that this is not a coincidence. It is the result of systematic and conscious work of politicians, business representatives, public sector, international partners, media, and conscious citizens of our country who promote equal rights. And I would like to thank them for that, because it's very important for the society to make sure that women and men is the only energy that bring positive impact for the entire society. So it's important to rightly combine this energy. Last year, we opened another page. We had local elections, and the leading political forces that received 40% of women in the local authorities. However, one of the issues is you have to quantitative or formal increase of the women representation. But another important thing is to have a quality of work of women. That's a very, very important aspect, and we should pay attention to it. First of all, is the direct. It is the fair distribution of load. That all the issues that have to be decided in the country should be proportionally distributed between men and women. So, and the Poland also gave women the opportunity to show leadership, serve and defend our country in almost many positions in the armed forces of Ukraine, lifting the absurd bans. So we lift the absurd bans, and girls who dream of a military career can now get an education in military high schools. As for the Fatherland Party, then 61% of the party's members and activists are women. Just can you imagine? So more than 60% of the members of the party are women, and 34 of women in the party hold leading or deputy positions. Maybe it's caused by the fact that our party has a female leader, but these figures are very nice, and of course we strive for absolute parity. But these figures are already significant. This is not a coincidence, but a consequence of women's struggle for their rights and the pursuit of equal opportunities with men. I would like to thank all the women that they can be in the politics, in business, in any sectors of our life. And women are so strong that they have time not only to work together with men, but to care about the families. So every country in the world is moving towards equality in one way or another, and its own pace, and has stops on this path. But we all understand that the nature of this phenomenon is irreversible. Politics is a continuous march, consisting of small and large steps. It's important just not to stop and not to deviate from the planned route. We see the emergence of a completely new reality when women's representation grows from quantity to quality. However, our task is not only to create, but also to expand the horizons of opportunities for those women who will come after us. It's mentoring, opening social lifts for other talented and smart women and girls who will be on the same wave with us to create change in society. It is necessary to demonstrate the successful role models, so everybody will get benefit from equality. Because men sometimes think that only female benefit from equality. So women that fight for their right should meet men, like-minded men. So we need to engage them in our mutually respected basis. So it's necessary. So only together, through synergy, by attracting men to us, with this help, our arguments in diplomacy, we need to achieve critical decisions. By the way, there was a report of the global gap in the World Economic Forum was recently published. And unfortunately, as of 2021, Ukraine has lost 15 positions in this index. By the way, was quite a critical story. And Iran is 74th in the world. However, we were outrun by the United Arab Emirates, which immediately increased 48 points. 48, just imagine, 48. I congratulate United Arab Emirates on such a breakthrough, because after all, United Arab Emirates is one of the leading countries that moving towards equality by galloping steps. The Minister of Internal Affairs was recognized as the person who supports the gender balance. He also contributed to the introduction of maternity leave in the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces. And in the UNDP report to the of countries, UAEs were one of the first Gulf countries were in progress towards the gender equality. And 135,000 Emirati women were employed in the labor market in 2015. When in 1975, only 1,000 women were employed in the entire country. Can you imagine this significant change that took place? So of course, each country has its own growth points and aspects that need to be changed and addressed, such as domestic violence, discrimination, bullying, gender inequality, and much more. But there is a real progress on equality and justice that must be acknowledged. We need to speak about these values. We need to speak about advantages of the equal rights and opportunities and jointly promote them and demonstrate successful stories and show non-stereotype approach to this issue. I'd like to thank the entire team of organizers because this event is dedicated to this purpose. So the path to equality is not a sprint, it's a real marathon, which requires tactic, strategy, and continuous progress. So let's all together be going this way, and I'm sure we, women and men, will have success. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for being with us. I'd like to invite the chief of the political committees and secretaries of the Embassy of the Emirates to Romania, Mrs. Alga Ali.
Your Excellencies, esteemed colleagues, good afternoon. I would like to start with how proud we are to represent a country that has proven it can achieve the impossible. In just 50 years, the UAE's development and reputation has progressed in all sectors, including education, economy, health, innovation, and technology. Becoming the first Arab country and the fifth nation globally to reach Mars is a true testament to the UAE's ingenuity and technological capabilities in making the impossible possible. The achievements we are living in today as a nation are deeply rooted in the leadership's vision that stands as a pillar and a foundation of the UAE. This can be summarized in the wise words of UAE's founding father, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. The ruler, any ruler, is only there to serve his people and secure them from prosperity and progress. His Highness recognized that women are equal members of society and therefore cannot ever be excluded from the nation's progress and prosperity. Gender inequality is a world phenomenon which all states recognize and tackle in their own manner. In a world where gender equality is a fundamental human right, the UAE's leadership has initiated a set of policies and strategies that support gender equality. The UAE's efforts led to its recognition as one of the region's best performing countries to have closed the overall gender gap by 66%. It is also worth mentioning the fact that UAE has established several entities with an aim to enhance gender balance for women, both in public and private sector, as well as to ensure their rights. Among these entities is the UAE Gender Balance Council. In each step towards a better future, women were present and gender equality became an organic, natural part of the UAE's vision. The UAE's constitution guarantees equal rights for both men and women. Women enjoy the same legal status, claim to titles, access to education, and the right to pursue and practice any profession. The main pillar from which the UAE's gender equality-oriented society is based no other than education. It is the root of developments, achievements, and success. For example, in 1975, the rate of literacy in women across the UAE was 31%, whereas now it has reached 95.8%, which is an extraordinary result in an evidently short period of time. As far as the fields of politics and diplomacy are concerned, Emirati women currently hold ministerial portfolios, in addition to presidency and membership in the Federal National Council, and represent their countries as ambassadors in nations around the world, in addition to 30% of UAE's diplomatic corps being represented by women. The UAE strategy of empowerment of women is a key enabler in harnessing the potential of women across all fields in the nation. The UAE also tackles the international platform on women's rights. For example, when it comes to international cooperation and aid, it is the UAE's belief in focusing on the empowerment and protection of women. The aid strategy proves has been long-term positive for women. The aid strategy proves to have long-term positive for women. The UAE has developed a 100% women policy, which aims to enhance the nation's commitment to the protection of women and girls globally, as part of the UAE-funded humanitarian programs implemented in humanitarian crises worldwide. There is no doubt that the UAE's vision reflects the commitment of the country towards women empowerment, and it is this commitment based on strong education and equal opportunities for everyone, regardless of their gender, that provides a great future for the UAE, where each individual is encouraged to reach their full potential and aims. Our colleagues from this conference are live proof of gender equality. Ambition, hard work, and a determined vision are what defined us, and not gender. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the European psychotherapist specialist on gender equality and trauma, by Mrs. Korina Kiriak.
Привітаємо оплесками.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Korina Kiriak. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today, and I would like to thank the UAE Embassy for this amazing opportunity. Now, when it comes to intimate relationships and neuroscience, it is important to look at equality through the perspective of our differences. First of all, the brains of men and women are unalike. For example, male brains are about 9% larger in size, while women have the brain cells packed more densely. Research has also found that women's brains are deeply affected because the fluctuations begin as early as 3 months old and last until after menopause. A woman's neurological reality is not as constant as a man. If we were to compare it, a man's reality is like a mountain, changing imperceptibly while a woman's is more like the weather itself. Also, in the brain centers for language and hearing, women have 11% more neurons than men. The principal place for emotions, the hippocampus, is also larger in the female brain, as well as the brain circuitry for language and observing emotions in others. This means that women are mostly better at expressing emotions. Men, in contrast, have 2.5 times more the brain space devoted to sexual drive, as well as larger brain centers for aggression. They have larger processors in the core of the most primitive area of the brain, the amygdala, which registers fear and triggers action. These basic structural variances explain our perceptive differences. Now, in order to understand why we are wired this way, we have to go back at the beginning of civilization and think of the role of men and women in prehistoric times. Men needed to hunt, this resulting in having to have a narrow point of focus, having to be aware of dangers, and ready to provide territorial defense. While women took care of gathering food, tending to the tribe, and taking care of the children. This is why women are better at multitasking, while men are not. However, as we progress, especially in the last 60 years as a society, women started holding the same jobs as men. We are not only housewives and caregivers, but pilots, fighters, presidents, doctors, and CEOs. So how does this impact the intimate relationship? In the intimate relationship arena, gender equality gains another nuance. We still have equal rights and responsibilities, of course. However, for a couple to work, we need to create a healthy, polarized relationship between the feminine and the masculine. Most couples fight because women think men don't know how to listen to their feelings. For example, this is what happens very often. However, men are not wired to listen or to perceive feelings like women do. Men are wired to act. This is why when women go to complain to their husbands, for example, about a problem, and women only need to be listened to, they will often offer a solution. Now, when it comes to being in a couple, women don't need to be the same as men or the other way around. The qualities of the feminine are empathy, nurturing, softness, receptivity, openness, creativity, feeling, while the masculine provides leadership, action, reason, focus, and logic. What this means is that for a couple to be successful, we need to think in terms of complementing each other. So as a conclusion, in intimate relationships, we co-create gender equality by learning from each other and celebrating our innate differences. Thank you very much.
Дякую, що були з нами. Запрошую.
Thank you for being with us. I'd like to invite the member of the parliament, co-chair of the Parliamentary Interrelation Group with the United Arab Emirates, Mrs. Anna Purtova. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? It's a pleasure to greet you from the Parliament of Ukraine. I'd like to thank organizers for taking part in discussing a very important topic. Women make up almost half of the world's population. If a country wants to maintain its national wealth and high standard of living, it is necessary to use the abilities of all people, not just people of the same sex. We have achieved much in the recent past on the path to gender equality, but we will still have a long way to go to ensure equal opportunities for women in terms of livelihoods, participation in society, and the right to vote. Especially now, when COVID-19 is raging in the world, the stakes are even higher. Women predominate in key positions such as nurses, social workers, and caregivers. They also work as doctors and volunteers and political and community leaders who make critical decisions about how to deal with the effects of the health and economic crisis. But first, let's acknowledge the results that have already been achieved. Today, women already have the opportunity to be leaders. In many countries, women have been given the right to participate in elections, study at universities, work and hold leadership positions, develop in politics and business, play football, and control childbearing. In 2020, women had 1 out of 4 position in the legislature worldwide. Better results are achieved with greater representation of women. Looking at the education, for example, we have seen tremendous progress in bringing the gap between the girls and boys in a number of key areas, such as school enrollment and literacy rates. And there have been many national reforms around the world in recent years to improve the situation of women in the workplace, in marriage, and especially to protect women from violence. Meanwhile, there is still a long way to go. Today, women produce only 37% of global GDP, although they make up half of the population. Women's participation in the economy could increase world GDP by 12 trillion. Secondly, the presence of a female quota of the parliament helps to reduce the turnover of staff. Thirdly, the women on the board management board can make a company more innovative, because equality is the creation of a better environment in which the person is treated with dignity and respect without harming race, gender, religion. This needs to be constantly discussed between the government and society. Gender equality is necessary to build a strong and powerful society driven not by prejudice, ignorance, and literacy, but by mutual respect, impartiality, liberalism, and responsibility. I believe that the recipe for success is access to education for all and good, regular communication with society. The latter is becoming increasingly important as the means of communication to develop and expand rapidly. Why do we say that gender equality is the key to our quest for the future? Because the ultimate goal of this struggle is to make our world better for all, to unite humanity and strengthen social ties. This in turn makes the society strong in its unity, be effective in its self-organization, stable in reaching compromises, responsible in resolving problems, and effective in overcoming crises. Because gender equality is not only about giving women more opportunities, but also about making people listen to each other, recognize each other's rights, and work together to achieve a common goal. Thank you for being with us. We listened many reports today, and I think we can make a conclusion that we women, we're moving fast towards our empowerment. Now I'd like to give the floor the first pilot lady of the United Arab Emirates, Mariam Al Mansour.
اليوم وجدا ممتنة لسعادة السفير. كان تواجد نساء موجود في جميع القوات ولكن في مهن معينة والحمد لله بعد ذلك تم فتح مجال على الجهات المتخصصات الفلانية العملياتية والمشاركة في الدفاع عن الدولة وحمايتها وتنظيم الدولة كالقوانين الداخلية والخارجية لرفع مستوى كفاءة الطيارين جميعا إناثا وذكورا. من حيث خبرتي في هذا المجال وجدت مساواة جدا طبيعية بين تأهيل المرأة وتأهيل الرجل في هذا المجال ولم يكن هناك أي نوع من التفرقة لا في التوجيه أو التعليم أو التقييم أو حتى قيادتنا الحكيمة وخاصة أم الإمارات الشيخة فاطمة بنت مبارك على شمولها لنا في جميع التوجهات والقرارات والرؤى المستقبلية التي يتم رسمها لمستقبل المرأة في دولة الإمارات على جميع المستويات المحلية والإقليمية والعالمية. وأشكر لكم استضافتي اليوم معكم وجدا فخورة بهذه المشاركة.
Дякую, що були з нами. Запрошую до слова.
I'd like to introduce the head of association of the head of association fighting for against gynecological disease of the United Arab Emirates, Miss Maria Matar.
To be here with all of you, and it's a great pleasure to be among a very distinguished women. Allow me to go with you on a very small journey back almost 50 years ago. I am from a generation where my both parents, they don't write and read, but I'm highly qualified when it comes to medicine. I'm a graduate of a medical college and I was the first in my batch. Then I continued my leadership from Harvard University in a program in Dubai College. And later on, I continued my studies in Japan and genetic disorders. And right now, I am representing the whole Arab world, which is 22 countries, in the Global Commission in United Nations, talking on the behalf of the rare disease and rare disease research. And I cannot conclude without mentioning the 202 nationalities were the main reason of our success. They are a friend and brothers and sisters who decided to come to our land, helping us to build our nation with their accumulated experience back home, and they came with that wealth, so they help us to speed up all the development process. So, in this day, we always remind ourselves with the great support of friends and brothers around the world to help us to reach where we are. So, in the National Day, me as a woman, I always try to remind myself with all the teachers who helped me to enlighten my way and the whole generation from different nationalities. To allow me to extend an special thanks for all those brothers and sisters from 202 countries who helped Maryam Mother to be in this position where I was lucky enough to be the first woman in the history of United Arab Emirates as the first woman as Under Secretary of Public Health and Primary Health Care, and later on as the first woman to take the post of Director General in Dubai government. And I was lucky enough to establish a non-governmental organization which look after Down syndrome, people with cancer, people with rare disease, and genetic disorders. So once again, I'm looking forward to come and visit your lovely country and exchange knowledge, especially in the field of medicine and in particular in the field of stem cell and regenerative medicine. Thank you very much for the invitation and God bless you all.
Ваші високоповажності, пані та
Your Holiness, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of the conference, I'm very thankful for today's participation when we had the opportunity to discuss such important issues of today's world as gender equality, empowerment of women, tolerance, and Expo 2020. I'd like to thank the organizers of this event, the plenipotentiary ambassador of the United Emirates to Ukraine, Mr. Al-Khabi, and his spouse. Special thanks to the honorary guest, the first Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine, Minister of Economy of Ukraine, Mrs. Julia Severenko. Participants of the conference and discussion, thank you very much for your attention.
конференцію закінчено.